Well, meanwhile tonight, police in Hong Kong are saying that they will not grant protesters permission to hold a rally this weekend because it's simply too dangerous, given the odds that it will turn violent.
We believe there's a very, very high chance that certain radical protesters would hijack these proposed public events again. We reasonably believe that certain protesters will commit acts of violence. It is our legal responsibility to protect public safety and order under the Public Order Ordinance and Police Force Ordinance of Hong Kong law.
But here's the thing with what police are saying in Hong Kong. Protesters are also saying that they will hold the rally anyway, even if it means that they're going to be breaking the law, according to what the police are saying. Now, this creates a showdown, right? Will this turn into a flashpoint in this Hong Kong protest saga if police are forced or make a decision to intervene? Tonight, News with Rick Sanchez correspondent Michele Greenstein is reporting from Hong Kong on how different reality is there on the ground from the story that we generally hear in the corporate media.
Here in Hong Kong, an earth-shaking protest movement has taken place since June. Although the protests were initially prompted by an extradition law amendment that's been taken off the agenda, these protesters say they won't stop until all their demands are met. One of those demands is to open an independent investigation into the use of force by the Hong Kong police.
Police in Hong Kong are known to be Asia's finest, but with the recent movement, police brutality has been on a rise. Obviously, in America, I know there's a lot of African Americans. They're faced with a lot of brutality as well. Many times with even death, but here it's a big shocker, and we hope we can put an end to this and have that independent inquiry.
To this date, the police have deployed tear gas, used batons, and even fired water cannons at the protesters. One police officer actually fired his revolver in the air as a warning. But not all believe it's the police who are escalating the violence.
They're really trying their best not to arrest people, not to escalate the situation in Hong Kong.
Well, while a majority of demonstrations here have been peaceful, it's often after the marches and rallies that protesters start to charge at police lines. Many vandalize public facilities, barricade roads, set fires in the streets, and even beat innocent people. They attack the police with iron bars. They point powerful lasers into their eyes. Some make a habit of throwing bricks and Molotov cocktails. And it was this weekend that a mob of protesters chased an outnumbered group of police officers down the road with clubs. This is the event that caused one of these officers to fire that infamous warning shot into the air. It's citing this type of violence that the Hong Kong police have chosen to ban a march planned for this weekend. Today, they notified the organizers of this decision and held a press conference explaining it. Yet online message boards and Facebook pages make it clear that Hong Kongers still plan to march on Saturday. And given this movement's recent history, it's likely to turn violent. And given the fact that Saturday's march is now illegal, the chance of the police cracking down just skyrocketed. So I asked their spokesperson what kind of measures officers are trained to take in order to avoid escalating the situation and even using lethal force.
We basically based on two main principles, which is the necessity to use the force as well as the proportionality of the force. We basically use minimum level of force to achieve a purpose, and we'll stop using that once we achieve the objective.
Essentially, the Hong Kong police are saying that if the protesters use violence, they will use force. And if the protesters don't use violence, they won't. But think about this. It's likely that these rioters know this. In fact, it appears more and more every day as if the strategy of some of these demonstrators is to get the police to crack down on them, thereby making the police appear more brutal and their own struggle more valiant. For the News with Rick Sanchez, Michele Greenstein in Hong Kong.
So you haven't heard that we're the ones covering the stories that you won't see covered anywhere else? In Venezuela, Kazakhstan. Let's go to Hong Kong. And the media reaction to that has been crickets. How about the way we cover those stories? What the hell does that mean? Wally, Wally, Wally. That's the key word in this case, uprising. Keep? Can you believe that? Watching. This is the right thing for members of the media to do, to actually pick sides. Look, if you like what you see, subscribe.